peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
To my fellow African diaspora, a very good day to all of you. My name is Ambassador Arikana Chihombori Kwao. Over the past couple of days, I've received many messages, emails, phone calls, and video clippings of the abuse that is being meted to our fellow African diaspora living in China. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets of China with their possessions after being evicted out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've watched in horror Africans roaming the streets with their suitcases and at times with nothing at all, roaming the streets after being thrown out of their hotel rooms simply because they're Africans. I have watched in horror women carrying babies roaming the streets of China with nowhere to go after being thrown out of their homes simply because they're Africans. I've heard many stories of Africans who are married to Chinese being separated from their husbands or wives simply because they were Africans. I've heard stories about Africans being forced to take COVID-19 tests simply because they're Africans. In many cases, these individuals did not meet criteria for testing, or they had been quarantined for the specified time period as mandated by the anti-pandemic laws of China. Not once have I heard any complaints of any African disobeying the anti-pandemic laws of China. Why is it then that Africans are being singled out and mistreated? This situation is not acceptable. It is wrong, and it will not be tolerated. To President Xi, I say, while you have enjoyed good relationships with all the African leaders, it is precisely because of that that you should do the right thing. You are sitting in the big boy's chair, and we are asking you to make the big boy decisions. We are counting on you to make sure that the Africans that are roaming the streets and have been evicted from their homes be allowed to go back home. We're also asking you to make sure the Africans who are roaming the streets because they have been thrown out of their hotel rooms be allowed to go back to their hotel rooms. As we speak, President Xi, may I remind you that we have over 10 million Chinese residing in Africa, where we have welcomed them with open arms. We have allowed the Chinese to establish themselves to marry Africans and live happily ever after in our Africa. Why can't Africans be awarded the same welcome that we have given to millions of your citizens? What is being done to Africans in China is deplorable, and the world cannot stand by and allow it to continue. While we understand that the majority of the Chinese are good people, they're good citizens in China as well as in Africa. However, sadly, among them, there are a few bad apples. A few bad apples that have chosen to give China a bad name. A few bad apples that are making China look bad in the eyes of the Africans. This is a situation that cannot be allowed to continue. President Xi, you are a good man. And we would like the relationship between China and the African governments to continue unabated. But the behavior that's coming from a few of your citizens will not be tolerated. And we're counting on you to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The Africans are no longer going to tolerate this abuse. From the Chinese or anybody else for that matter. The African youth are enraged. We're asking, when is enough going to be enough? President Xi, the power is in your hands. We value, as Africans, our relationship with China. Please do not allow a few bad apples within your citizens to ruin what is otherwise a wonderful relationship between China and the African countries. As a united citizens, As the United African Citizens in the Diaspora, we are asking you, President Xi, to do what is right, to do what is just, and to do what is fair. The children of Africa are saying, enough is enough. The abuse of Africans at home and abroad, be it in China or on the continent, has got to stop. You may not be aware of some of these abuses, but as a United African Citizenry in the diaspora, we hope you will receive our message in the spirit with which it is being delivered to you. You are a good man, President Xi. We trust you will do the right thing. I thank you.
As of today, the global COVID-19 pandemic cases stand in excess of 2.5 million, with approximately 600,000 recoveries and 170,000 deaths. Here at home, the numbers have been rising every day. Even in these times, we still have cynical Kenyans who hold the view that this disease is not real. This is very disturbing, particularly in light of the growing numbers of people who are infected. As we continue this fight, we note that there are some of us who continue to disobey the measures and regulations announced by the government. I would like to remind you that we are in a war situation against an enemy that is not a respecter of age, status, gender, race, and religion. Some of our young people are deliberately breaking curfew regulations due to the false belief that they cannot catch this disease. And we would like to remind you young people, including myself, that we are actually able and susceptible to get this disease. In the early days, we cautioned you on surfaces that are likely to be contaminated in the aid of the transmission of this virus. Among such surfaces include groceries in supermarkets. We would like to acknowledge efforts made by many outlet stores by providing sanitizers to shoppers and ensuring that no shopper is allowed into a shop without wearing a face mask. However, we are concerned that it is important that cashiers handle the goods correctly, especially during payment at the counters. These are also areas that can be easily contaminated and that can lead to infections. And therefore, we are urging all supermarkets to devise innovative ways to address this issue. The same should also apply to banks, particularly in the aspect of different people sharing pens in the banking halls. Fellow Kenyans, this is a long journey that we cannot walk alone, and I want to thank all the individuals and corporates who have so far contributed to this containment effort. I particularly want to thank the Kenya Air Force for deploying 2 aircrafts that have been flying banners, aiding in our communication with banners stating that we should stay at home. I'd also like to thank our healthcare workers for their continued efforts, and particularly today, where the Kenya Editors Guild Association, together with the Kenya Medical Association and the Association of Nurses, has initiated a campaign dubbed Saa Sita. In this campaign, at midday every Wednesday, we will all stop and clap for all our healthcare workers. And this is a campaign that is being rolled out in different countries across the world. This is to appreciate the role of healthcare workers and the crucial role that they are playing in this time of COVID-19. Let me also acknowledge the contribution of mobile network providers, and in particular, our national carrier Safaricom. Through its foundation and other donations that have come so far, they've contributed close to 10 million Kenya shillings for thermal scanners, and they've also helped us in expanding our screening capability. Additionally, Safaricom will be supporting healthcare workers and is in the process of rolling out a free communication package. This package will include 3 months of internet bundles and airtime for our healthcare workers, and will form part of the comprehensive care package for our healthcare workers. Yesterday, we mentioned to you that the strategy that has been formulated and agreed upon globally as the most effective way of fighting this disease rests on 4 pillars. That is, testing, isolating, treating, and tracing. We have ramped up our capacity in all these 4 pillars. However, these parameters only become useful when preventive measures are put in place, such as hand washing, social distancing, general hygiene, and quarantine. And therefore, the only way we can succeed is when we have each and every one of us taking personal responsibility. I therefore would like to urge all our people to continue observing these simple but very effective containment measures. In the last 24 hours, we have tested 545 samples, out of which 15 persons have tested positive for coronavirus disease. This brings to the number 296 total number of confirmed cases in the country. 11 are Kenyans, while 4 are foreign nationals. And out of the 15 positive cases, 7 are from Mombasa, 6 from Nairobi, and 2 from Mandera County. None have any history of recent travel. With regard to gender, 7 are males, 8 are females. The 15 are aged between 19 to 75 years of age. 6 are from our quarantine centers, and 9 were picked up by our surveillance teams. And this is a clear indication that the infection is increasingly growing within our communities. And it is therefore very critical that we observe very strictly the measures that we've put in place with regard to containment. I am glad to inform you that 5 patients have recovered and discharged. We now have a total of 74 recoveries. A total of 2,851 contacts have been monitored, out of which 2,121 have been discharged. 730 contacts are being followed up at the moment, and a total of 14,417 samples have been tested so far.
Mimi naitwa Eliud Bio. Mimi ndio mwenyekiti wa Kamukunji Jua Kali Association. Nataka kusema kwamba hii ugonjwa wa coronavirus ni ugonjwa ambao uko na unashika kila mtu ambaye anaweza kuwa in contact na mtu mwingine ambaye ako nao ama amegusa kitu ambacho kimeguswa na mtu ambaye ako nayo.
Let us wash our hands. Let us keep the social distance given, at least 1 meter away from one another. Let us avoid all gatherings, unnecessary gatherings. People believe that sanitizer is the main thing to fight the scourge. Let us just use the soap we have at home, even the bar soaps. So long as we maintain the cleanliness that is required, we are going to fight this.
Ili tubambane na hii ugonjwa ni lazima unawe. Hiyo ndio sababu kama sekta tumeweka hizi mtungi kila mahali ya kunawisa mkono. Na tena tunasema ya kwamba ukiwa unafanya kazi hapa, ama wewe ni customer, ama wewe ni mpita njia, ukikuja lazima unawe. Hiyo ndio kusaidia na ndio kukinga hii ugonjwa.
Hii mitungi ya kunawia mikono, mebasi wetu walichukua jukumu, wanatengeneza hizi mitungi na wanauza kwa bei nafuu, kwa sababu wanapotengeneza hii mitungi sio biashara tu ama pesa tunatafuta. Tunatafuta kwamba hii mitungi iweze kufikia kila mtu, ndio watu waweze kunawa mikono na waweze kujikinga na hii ugonjwa. Si serikali ambayo inaweza kutusaidia peke yake, ni sisi wenyewe pia tusaidiane kwa kufuatilia ile mambo ambayo tunaambiwa na serikali.
For more information, please dial 719 or *719#. You'll get help immediately from the relevant authorities, particularly from the Ministry of Health.
Pamoja tukomese corona.
From the Ministry of Health and working under National Public Health Labs. Today we are visiting the quarantine sites within Nairobi, and the teams are being dispatched out to go and visit the sites. We have the forms which we are going to use to capture the information of the visitors who came from in the country. And we also have the sample collection apparatus, which we have the oropharyngeal swabs and the nasal swabs. the nasal swabs, and each person is supposed to be taken the 2 samples, the nasal swab and the oropharyngeal swab. We have our PPEs to protect ourselves. We have the safety gears where we are having this, and the disinfection for disinfecting the apparatus which we are going to use. The waste, we have the biohazard bags where we are going to put all the waste which is generated within the site where we are collecting the specimen. We have the biohazard bags to safeguard the environment. And with us, we have the transport media, because we have to make sure that the samples which we are going to carry, they are if the virus is there, they are viable. So we have the transport media which we are carrying with us, and we are maintaining the cold chain, because we have the cool box which is equipped with the ice packs to maintain the cold chain of the virus of the samples as we come back. To my fellow Kenyans, I have a word for you today. Kindly stay at home. I am at work to safeguard the environment and to safeguard ourselves. The corona is real. It is real with us. So please let us stay at home as the health workers continue working and supporting the government or the guidelines which they have been put on place.
My name is Dr. Eva Jenga. I'm the chair of the Kenya Medical and Dentist Council. Today we came here with a team from the Ministry of Health and from the Kenya Medical Council, as well as from the Kenya Medical and Dentist Union. We are here to represent the government on a task to come and verify the quality of the PPEs that are being made by Shona. Shona is one of the local manufacturers that have been identified to most likely will be able to produce the PPEs en masse for this country, which we need so badly. And today our task was to come and see the quality and also the capability of the output and the turnaround of production of these PPEs. We have come and seen the type of masks that they are making, a full PPE where we have the coverall with the boots.
I'm a critical care nurse, and I work in Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. I work in the ICU setup, and we are preparing for the COVID-19 isolation and quarantine program. And we are set for our ICU is a 24-bedded capacity. We are ready to receive the patient who will be requiring ventilatory support, and our ICU is fully equipped with the ventilators, infusion pumps. It's also fully equipped with the suction machines and also spaces for hemodialysis. So we are fully prepared and equipped to nurse this patient in our unit. Psychologically, we have to be prepared because this thing is real. It has affected other countries. It's worldwide. And now for us in the healthcare profession, we are the people now to stand in.
Mi naitwa Ivy Brenda Cheretich na niko 26 years old. So I was the first patient to be confirmed with COVID-19, which is hiyo ndio disease ni iko caused by coronavirus. So I came out to the Ministry of Health, and I let them know that I was concerned because I had shown symptoms of COVID-19. Na hakuna mtu alini pressure like go forward. Ni mimi tu niliamua as a responsible Kenyan nifanye nione as in juni kazi yangu as a responsible Kenyan kukuja mbele na kuambia government, I think this is what is happening and you might have to test me. Na niko happy because waliamua kunitake seriously, wakanitest, and that's when wakapata niko positive. So after wakanipata niko positive, walinipea treatment, walini support sana, and niko very thankful to all of them for what they did. Kitu nataka kuwashow ni kuwa hii kitu ni manageable na ni treatable. If you think you have it, don't be afraid. Usiogope ati watu watasema nini or that ati watu watani stigmatize. Hiyo ni kitu tu, it's something that ni normal. It happens to anyone and unaweza contract. It doesn't matter, unaweza kwa young, you can contract it. You can also be a child and you can be an older person. Hii kitu ni ya anyone. It doesn't discriminate. I discriminate based on age, ati when, how many years, or gender ama ethnicity. Hii kitu ni ya kila mtu, but because we are really trying to fight hii coronavirus, it's also part of your responsibility kama Mkenya ukwe responsible na ukuje out with your story, because mmeona mimi niko confident with my story, right? Sijaogopa anything. So that's what I would like to tell you guys now, because najua kuna patients sahi wana receive treatment and wanaweza kuwa a little overwhelmed. Najua it's normal, it happens to every patient. Nataka tu kuambia stay strong, because the doctors wanajua what they are doing. Unaweza fikiria they don't know, but they know what they are doing. They're constantly wako talking on video conferences, on phones na experts from other parts of the world. Unafaa tu kuwa trust and be positive. And thank you to everyone mwenye ameni support through this journey, and also for the CS pia yamekuwa very supportive, and I would just like to tell anyone, stigmatize anyone, don't kabisa, and be strong.
So I want to tell Greta.
As of today, the global COVID-19 pandemic cases stand in excess of 2.5 million, with approximately 600,000 recoveries and 170,000 deaths. Here at home, the numbers have been rising every day. Even in these times, we still have cynical Kenyans who hold the view that this disease is not real. This is very disturbing, particularly in light of the growing numbers of people who are infected. As we continue this fight, we note that there are some of us who continue to disobey the measures and regulations announced by the government. I would like to remind you that we are in a war situation against an enemy that is not a respecter of age, status, gender, race, and religion. Some of our young people are deliberately breaking curfew regulations due to the false belief that they cannot catch this disease. And we would like to remind you young people, including myself, that we are actually able and susceptible to get this disease. In the early days, we cautioned you on surfaces that are likely to be contaminated in the aid of the transmission of this virus. Among such surfaces include groceries in supermarkets. We would like to acknowledge efforts made by many outlet stores by providing sanitizers to shoppers and ensuring that no shopper is allowed into a shop without wearing a face mask. However, we are concerned that it is important that cashiers handle the goods correctly, especially during payment at the counters. These are also areas that can be easily contaminated and that can lead to infections. And therefore, we are urging all supermarkets to devise innovative ways to address this issue. The same should also apply to banks, particularly in the aspect of different people sharing pens in the banking halls. Fellow Kenyans, this is a long journey that we cannot walk alone, and I want to thank all the individuals and corporates who have so far contributed to this containment effort. I particularly want to thank the Kenya Air Force for deploying 2 aircrafts that have been flying banners, aiding in our communication with banners stating that we should stay at home. I'd also like to thank our healthcare workers for their continued efforts, and particularly today, where the Kenya Editors Guild Association, together with the Kenya Medical Association and the Association of Nurses, has initiated a campaign dubbed Saa Sita. In this campaign, at midday, every Wednesday, we will all stop and clap for all our healthcare workers. And this is a campaign that is being rolled out in different countries across the world. This is to appreciate the role of healthcare workers and the crucial role that they are playing in this time of COVID-19.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Kenya. Wherever you were in Africa, in Kenya, in Uganda, in East Africa, in Rwanda, in Burundi, in Sudan, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Angola, good morning. In West Africa, in Nigeria, Biafra, Amazonia, good morning. Viewers, this is Punchline Africa Television. My opinion this morning. Our show of Good Morning has not taken a break, but we brought in our opinion. Why we brought in this opinion is with me in the studio to analyze the current scenario of COVID-19 is none other than my best friend, Miriam Ogotu. Good morning. She might not be my best friend. I don't know whether she's my best enemy. She is not. We are all friends. Thank you very much. Good morning, Miriam, in the headquarters down in Nairobi.
A very good morning to you, Doctor. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I am still holding the command post wherever I am, and thank you very much for holding the general office wherever you are. Keep it going, keep it smiling. Thank you very much. Any word from this COVID assessment, encouragement? I just liked what President Uhuru Kenyatta reiterated this morning. I listened to the entire speech, the entire broadcast, the points that we have been saying all along around here on this television station seem to have from debt relief, repayment of loans, those who break the law, how you should yourself wash your hands. You should not blame another person. If you don't want to listen to the government, at least tell your relative to listen. And you don't listen. President Uhuru Kenyatta summarized it that way. And I believe Miriam has got some of the points that the president said. Can we begin with that first?
Yes.
And to say our opinion today.
Yes.
Let me introduce the topic. The opinion today is based on there is a difference, and I want the people in the COVID-19 to listen. They might be in those positions, but some people might not listen. And I want the journalists, editors who write these papers also to listen. When you write a headline, like the headline you see in the Standard, which is this one, a broken promises or broken promises. You can't break a promise over disease. You can't put a timeline, deadline on a disease. You can put a timeline to work within the time frame, but you can't put a deadline. No, this editor should be fired because he doesn't know what he wrote. So if he's in the Standard, let him pick a pen and listen what we are going to say. But before we say that, we want Miriam to say summary, what the president said this morning. And then if you look at our programs, which we have been conducting from time to time, Miriam, those are the words. We have been saying it, we have been preaching here, the same things on debt, on China, on paying China, Kenya has been paying its debts. But now, the train is not working. Chinese are not mad people. If they are mad, then they can come badly and start demanding. They must come nice. Because even a man who has borrowed your money from the bank, if you come badly on his door, he can be very ruthless. So there you are, Miriam. Brief us and briefly tell us what the president said this morning.
Indeed, a very good morning to our viewers. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from across the globe. President Uhuru Kenyatta this morning spoke to the nation through all the radio stations in this country, and he addressed very important things that have been said, and so he reiterated, and also some things that Kenyans really are still not paying attention to. So President Uhuru Kenyatta has said dozens of people who are filmed escaping from the mandatory quarantine in the capital, Nairobi, will be arrested and returned to finish the isolation period there. We've seen those images making their way into the social media yesterday and the other day. Some Kenyans escaped the quarantine centers here, particularly in one of the quarantine centers here in Nairobi. And so the president spoke this morning, just hours after the video was shared online. It showed some people jumping over a perimeter wall there, as Dr. Matanga had explained there earlier. Now, of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta also said that the government knows the identities of all those who escaped and would arrest them and place them back to the quarantine. And the Ministry of Health, of course, yesterday evening said that the police were investigating this. So among this and other things, President Uhuru Kenyatta spoke about and encouraged. I also heard just a part of that, show in the morning, because I was busy coming to work and also came and started preparing for the show. So I was not able to listen to the whole of it, but I heard, and part of it, President Uhuru Kenyatta still was encouraging Kenyans that this disease is now in the communities. You should pay attention to what you're being told. Keep safe, wash your hands, sanitize when you're leaving your house, you're going out in public. Please wear your mask. And when you're having this mask on your face, please wear it the right way. Don't just put it on for the sake of it. If you just have it under your chin or whatever, and you and the person who has not bothered to get one, the difference is the same. You will not be protected. So when you acquire these masks, make sure you acquire the masks that are of good quality, and make sure you protect yourself. So President Dr. Matanga this morning, I think Kenyans were happy to hear his voice, and we're waiting to hear what he had to say. And so I think he addressed the nation from about 7
summarize.
Yes.
Don't worry, I will summarize all that here, all what the president said. Number one, on curfew, the president said there are no exceptions on Ramadan, so it will not change. On quarantine, which you have touched on, the escapees will be found and returned under quarantine, and later on charged for having come out of a lawful quarantine. 3, 2,000 tests a day to start this weekend. That's the main point the president said. 4, landlords should be humane. Government cannot interfere with private property. You are on your own, negotiate with your landlord, and the landlords also should be humane. 5, government does not want lockdown. The government will not lock you down. But don't force the government to lock you down. Okay? 6, the president said Kenya has never failed to pay its debts, which we have been singing here. Do we pay to pay or not to pay? China will have to understand that the government of Kenya did not perform, the railway did not run. There's nobody being gone in the railway. It could rust. We don't know how long this will take. So they have to come slowly and also organized. If they are bad madmen, even the man you are going to auction can be mad, because he's losing everything. So the Kenya government has never failed to pay. Number 7, the president said candidates will sit for KCPE and the KCSE exams. That is one point he made very clear. Number 8, the government said, the president said, and I'm quoting because I'm very good at picking the points. As a lecturer, I did pick those points. The government to support sports through the sports fund, because sports people at the moment are not practicing, and the sports in the world needs to go on. It also gives the people healthy bodies. Number 9, the president said the money will be set aside. The money that is set aside for musicians was their money. It was their money that was already accumulating as a result of the rights. You know, when you sing the song, rights are taken away, the government keeps it. So the government did not get any other money from somewhere and give. I've seen so many Kenyans on social media shouting about this money. This money belongs to the musicians. It was not their money. So they were given it was not the people's money, it was the musicians' money. They had a right, they sing, they entertain us, we dance, we enjoy the soul songs, they heal our hearts. Therefore, they should be given some money. It is their right. Somebody to sit down to encourage them to bring more songs, patriotic songs that can cure COVID-19. Yes. Number 10, the government to look into at Kenyans who are in China and elsewhere on a case-to-case basis. Those are some of the major 10 points that the president said this morning in his address. I have summarized them. You can get the details from the president's spokesperson's office, which is not my office. Mine is an editor who has edited, summarized the points, picked them out, and they are there. Yes. If you say you didn't hear those, then you can go and call Angel Gabriel to hear, because he can guide you to hear, those who want to hear. That those are the points that the president said. All right. And he left them to us. He said to us, it's up to us. It is up to us. If you hate the president, then tell a friend to listen to the guideline. Yeah, if you hate the president, tell a friend to listen to guideline. To the guidelines, so that you save a friend or your child. If you don't like to hear this, you just tell your child to listen. That's the message the president delivered today. Yes. There are people in Kenya, Miriam, in our Kishamoto Sahi. There are people in Kenya who are money hungry. Money, 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 money. All lawyers like Donald Kipkoriru, David Ndii, all these guys are talking about money, money, money.
Yes.
So why do you talk about money now? The money is being utilized. Do you know why these headlines come? Can I tell you the secret behind this? There are people fighting who want to fight Mutahi Kagwe. They are not happy because they are not touching the money. You remember when the uniforms, police uniforms, Honorable Fred Matiang'i was hated because he gave the police uniform contract to the Chitui governor and his industry, and another one in Nakuru or Eldoret. The mafia people who had come to pick the industry were very upset. And you remember, they have been having a wrangle. They hated the minister for the decision he took. Yes. So part of this broken promises. What is broken in a disease?
Doctor,
over to you.
Yes, and before we even get to that headline there, and I will help to Kenyans to understand through our topic today, we shall looking at that and also see what is it that the government has done in line with the roadmap, timetable, timeline, deadline, and all of that. But also, you listened to President Uhuru Kenyatta's speech, and the points there, the 10 points, they're very important. A lot of concerns that Kenyans had in terms of the. Personally, I was concerned about the national examination. My son is sitting for his KCP this year, so I was anxious to know what will happen, and not just me, but parents across Kenya this morning. Those whose children are sitting for their national examinations, KCP, KCSE. So this President Uhuru Kenyatta has done something very important and has said, and I think also as the CS for Education, Mr. Magoha, has said before, they've not found a need to postpone the national examinations for this year. Perhaps they will be moved to a later date. The did not suggest that, but he had said that the government having considered everything, did not find it necessary for these examinations to be postponed, as we saw some officials even in the ministry, in NAT and these teachers organizations talk about. So that is very important that President Uhuru Kenyatta came in this morning and made this very clear, and he said the national examinations will continue. And for the president to have such a confidence to come in, even as the government is really working hard to ensure that we defeat the COVID-19. That means that President himself has confidence in what the government is doing, in what his government is doing to ensure that we get rid of the COVID-19 and our lives come back to normal, and our children are able to go back to school and prepare for the examination and continue with the curriculum. So that is very, very important. So every parent out there, if you're wondering, and you let just your children to continue learning from home, let your children continue revising from home, because the government is working so hard and wants to ensure that our children sit for their national examination this year. So we need to play our part as parents, keep your children safe and keep yourself safe by following those measures, and soon this COVID-19 perhaps will be a thing of the past. And also something also very important, Doctor, that you mentioned there, as we see Ramadan is fast approaching, and the Muslim community, we saw one of the Qadis come in a few days ago and say, pleading with the government to perhaps reconsider the curfew hours. We don't go to church. Easter is a very huge calendar in the Christian faith, and we did not even celebrate it. So I hope that they will understand that this is in the spirit of keeping all of us safe. It has nothing to do with a different faith. All of us are in it together, and it is affecting all of us. So it is important for them to understand, as much as we know Ramadan is a very important event in the calendar of the Muslim faith. But at this time, as we've seen even with Easter, things are different. It's not business as usual. And so I hope they'll be able to bear with us, our Muslim brothers and sisters out there, and perhaps you'll find ways in which you're still able to celebrate your faith, and you're still able to go through this very important period in your calendar, but still ensuring that social distancing is observed, and also the curfew and other measures that the government has put in place. That is very, very important for your own sake and for the sake of all of us. And also, Doctor, the money for the musicians there that the government gave a few weeks ago, it's good that the president has come out to clarify that. And now for the people who are making that noise out there, now I think that has been made very, very clear to you. So I think this is very important. And also because I've seen a lot of Kenyans making noise about the Kenyans who are stuck in Wuhan and across other countries across the world. But I think the case that is happening now against our African brothers and sisters, and Kenyans are still there, a few of them, and they've been wanting to come home. And I think we've talked about it here, and yesterday we also talked about it, and we said even if right now the government wanted to bring these Kenyans back home, it is not quite possible because of the stage that the world is right now. And the government now, President Uhuru Kenyatta, came there and said that these cases we shall be looked at in a case-to-case basis. So it's a good thing. And I think yesterday when we were talking, we said that the government, I'm sure, was looking into ways in helping Kenyans out there. So now we see there's a clear plan on how the government is going to assist those Kenyans that are stuck in that part of the world. So, Doctor, thank you so much, even for those points there. So I think a lot of these things that maybe Kenyans are not really, it was not very clear to them, now it's clear. And thank you so much for the points there. They're straight to the point.
It's very clear, Miriam.
Yes.
You know, I just want to be honest to Kenyans now. Under article of your constitution, this is your constitution, because people don't read. People like Nelson Harvey, they claim to be lawyers, but I don't know which schools they went to. Powers of the president. If you push the president, and I want to tell people, if you look at Article 131 of your constitution, from Kenya, not Uganda, not Britain, not Zimbabwe, which I know by head. Article 131, 4D, President may, Article 4, 131, 4, Section 4, Clause D. If you push beyond this for the president, and this is your constitution, You know, people are playing with this disease. If you want a timeline, a deadline in this disease, and you are jumping over the wall, you are carrying a coffin to Homa Bay, you are leaving Nairobi to Murang'a, to Kajiado, to the president, and I'm telling you, mark this day that this Ugandan say. Article 131, the president will come with Article 4D, 131 4D, which says the president may, subject to Article 58 of your constitution, declare a state of emergency. Declare a state of emergency. And in a state of emergency, walai, when the GSU come and find you have legs, don't call anybody. Don't call mama. Call yourself. Blame yourself. When he declares a state of emergency, with the help of the parliament, of which this parliament, I think, they will actually endorse. They will endorse it very fast. There, you not have to deal with police. You not have to deal with normal police. Mr. Kuria will not address anything anywhere. Mr. Oscar will not. You are pushing the government to declare the state of emergency under your constitution, which could be very dangerous for all of us. Because once GSU gets you on the road, they don't have to ask. They don't, you know them. When they come heavy. Those who are in Mount Elgon with Mount Elgon Liberation Front know what the army can do. Some of us who have been in the army know what we can do once we have been given the powers of state of emergency. So under article, people like Harvey, commission of it, he can, he may. Don't push him. He has told you, no lockdowns. Just observe the behavior. Wash your hands, distance yourself from human activity, wear a mask. Yesterday, I passed near Nairobi Central Police Station and the other one near Milimani. There were so many people there near the church 70th day that they had gone to see their people who had been arrested. And they were not observing the distancing. They were standing on the gate behind each other. Now, your man has been arrested. You are coming to a police station without a mask. What did you think the police can do? To sympathize with you? The Constitution is here. I've just reminded the lawyers, and this Parliament of Kenya can easily move to agree with the president if he says, I have been trying to tame COVID-19. Imenishinda jameni, munipatie powers zingine ndio nifunge kwa kina Kuria na grupu yake wanarandaranda, wanatembea kutangatanga, wanatafuta party. Oh, my party is being taken here. Hawa wanaweza fungwa. So msijaribu wa Kenya, please. We need at least this limited things are, the light is coming. You hear yesterday, Miriam, this is the news we should have told people, which I broke yesterday. And the Punchline Africa TV at night, I called you, you couldn't pick. Maybe you are doing something else. We had vaccine. Oxford University.
Yeah, they're testing
has discovered the vaccine.
They're still testing it. They've not concluded.
No, they are rolling it tomorrow.
The test.
It's not testing.
They're testing.
They are rolling it to people tomorrow. The health secretary of Britain said they will roll it out tomorrow to over 100,000 people and see. So don't think that vaccine is coming tomorrow. You must continue washing your hands. It might arrive here sometime 2 months, 3 months, 4 months to come. Meanwhile, in Kenya, KEPSA, is it KEPSA? Or KEPSA?
KEPSA.
KEPSA.
Yes.
Of course, KEPSA and those scientists in other places, they work together.
Yes.
They have now also said they could be. Those are the signs of hope, which the newspaper here is saying Kenyans need hope, not fear for the future.
And just
but they did not mention that media.
But just
the next paper.
Yes.
Yes.
Just to add on that, I think the Star has that story that the 7 Kenyans joined the race to find COVID-19 vaccine. Something very important and very uplifting. So Kenya has reported 15 new coronavirus cases, but also it joins the race to find the COVID-19. I think the story is on page 2 and 6 of the Star newspaper. So even as the world and scientists all over the world are trying hard to work and get a solution for this, we see Kenya has not been left behind, and that is very, very encouraging there. It is in the front pages of the Star newspaper.
Yes, they will be testing that medicine from tomorrow in the United Kingdom. If by Friday or within 7 days, everything is very clear.
Yes.
Patients are saying hallelujah, hallelujah, across the bridge.
Then it will be rolled out.
No,
yes.
And there we are. So there's nothing that can. I like the British. The British always lead from the front. Yes, while Trump is payukering, the British are busy looking. They have not even, Britain has not sent any claim to China.
And doctor,
yes.
Some other people who are also leading from the front is the Ministry of Health here in Kenya, and we see in the daily briefings there yesterday some very important information was during the press conference there, very important, and the CS there, the Health Chief Administrative Secretary.
What did he say? What did he say?
Outside. Yes. Yes, of course, outside of the daily, outside of the giving the numbers there, and I don't know if you've seen Kenyans. I really don't understand, Doctor, this thing that I see people complain. Why does the Ministry of Health have to come out every day and give us these numbers and give us the daily update? What do you mean? That is what the government is supposed to be doing right now. So for any Kenyan out there who does not understand the importance of these daily briefings, and you have to complain about the daily briefings, I do not understand which world you are. Everybody, any reasonable government, this is what they're doing across. So I don't know why a few Kenyans, yeah.
The only problem that, as we shall see in the other phase, the phase 2 of our roadmap, timetable, timeline, deadline, and time frame. All those words sound to be, they look like they are the same. That's why journalists lose it out. An editor who wrote this story that broken promises lost it out. Because roadmap does not also mean strategy. Strategy is different from roadmap. A roadmap is a visual operation, visualization of what you want to do. A strategy is an inside component of what you want to an objective you want to deliver. And an editor of a newspaper of this caliber maybe went to half school. There are problems when you go to half school and you see the window and you say there is going in school, at a school, and there's another word, in school or outside. Some people saw the windows of school, said, Mama natoka shule. Lakini he didn't see the inside of school. Lakini natoka kuona shule, Mama, ilikuwa mzuri sana. This type of life is here. There is nothing Mutahi Kagwe has broken here. Mutake Kagwe has done his best. Imagine from 5 weeks ago, if this Mutahi Kagwe was not brought in here, I think Madam Cecilia Kariuki would have cried tears. We are lucky. We have a clear straight. The man tells you, I've nothing to tell you. We mwenyewe panda hiyo the wall. Go on pandering the wall. Go on telling your child. You know there are parents who were calling these people. The police have intercepted all their phones and they think they cannot be got. There are parents who were calling these people to tell them, jump out. You were father telling people to jump out of the wall. Jump and come home. Hey, Brian, please. Brian, I have not seen you for 2 days. Jump. You see, you are jumping. Brian is carrying COVID-19 with him. He reaches home. The entire family is down in a fever. And all of you.
And I want to assume that there is no parent who understanding what is happening right now would encourage their children to leave a place to bring them the disease home. So those who did it, they should be held accountable. And they forgot that the government has their data. They signed some forms with their details. The government will get you, and of course, the due course of the law shall follow. And anybody out there, if you know somebody who had been in quarantine and all of a sudden they've shown up, please do the necessary thing and report them to the nearest authority for your own safety and for their own safety, and to ensure that we curb the spread of this COVID-19. So we have to be responsible. This is when we have to be our brother's keeper. Anybody who has shown up and has been away for quite a while, for a week or a couple of days, somewhere else in quarantine, whether you knew it or not, and all of a sudden they're back, please alert the authorities. Yes, tell the authorities, go to the police, go to the chief, to the elders. And Doctor, as we shall be looking at some of these things now, yes.
Miriam, before you leave that, there is a point you made that you don't know whether there is a parent who they do it. The parents who called the ambulance. Is he not a parent? He told the ambulance to go and carry the child, the children. He's a parent, yes. And he has been suspended from duty because he works with the Red Cross. Yes. He thought he can carry his parent. They are parents.
Yes.
They are parents here, Miriam. Me, if my child steals, I swear, police come to the door, I will not hide you under the bed. Utatembea na hawa. Uende mzungumizie na police. Go and talk to the police at the station. I will come to bail. Sikia, I will come to pay bail. And even when we leave the court, I look that way, you look that way. Until they sentence you. If you steal, any of my children to steal, I swear, when I'm still alive, and the police come to the door to knock, that we are looking for Ephraim Matanga, or Nora Matanga, or this one, or Pade Matanga was involved in a robbery. Na hand over. Medium sikia mimi. Na hand over.
Yes.
Uende. Itakuja kulipa bail. I will pay bail. But I'm not going to be a party with a thief in the house. So parents who are calling these thieves, these patients who are already carriers, they could be carriers, silent carriers. You call them to get out of the quarantine. Instead of getting money and sending them M-Pesa so that they pay the bill, you are calling them to jump the wall and come out. I think the president should have gone further by saying even the parents, because if he has gone to your house,
yes,
you are also now under quarantine.
Yes. And
yes,
and also
over to you, Miri.
Yes, and also you remember that video of that driver that took those the 7 people plus him, 8 people to Homa Bay, the ones with the I don't know why he's still talking and making videos. You already know you broke the law. Why don't you just be quiet and save yourself? So now, because he was making videos claiming that he's not okay and all that, so the Minister of Health came out yesterday, and let me just, because this is very important, let me just read a piece of that so that Kenyans are able to understand, and we remove any types of doubts or whatever we think the government is doing. And so when he appeared on the national TV, Director General for Health Patrick Amoth was hard pressed to explain why a patient in Homa Bay County had been hospitalized, yet he wasn't receiving any treatment for the coronavirus. This question was raised after a video of the patient identified as Kevin Aura went viral on social media, claiming he was healthy despite Ministry of Health insisting that he had tested positive for COVID-19. Dr. Amoth explained that Mr. Aura was rightly admitted because samples taken from him for COVID-19 came back positive, and he went to say that Kevin is case number 257 and he's not being treated because he doesn't display symptoms. The test was done in Kemri, Kisumu, and turned positive. So Mr. Aura, 26, is one of the patients considered to be asymptomatic, who now account for almost half of the confirmed cases in Kenya. And when you read something like this, because the people who have tested positive, doctor, they're not coughing, they're not feeling any pains, they don't have a sore throat, they don't have any of these symptoms, but still they go ahead and test for the COVID-19, they test positive. And perhaps that could be the case with also those Kenyans who climbed the perimeter wall and ran away thinking that they're not okay, thinking perhaps that the government is lying about their status. That is not true, because you can be a carrier and you don't have these symptoms, and you can pass this illness to somebody else. So it is important for you to stay there and for you to be isolated until you're able to test negative, and then you can leave these facilities. So I think this is very important. The Ministry of Health came out yesterday and make these clarifications, even as you know, this person here has been making, Mr. Aura has been making videos saying he does not have the symptoms, he does not have the pains, all of this, and yet he's still being held under forced quarantine. That is because he tested positive, and they have to make sure that he tests negative, and that you know, for him to leave the facility. So there are actually people who has tested positive for COVID-19 but do not have the symptoms, and you still have it and you can still pass it to other people. So it's important, and I'm just wishing that Kenyans would cooperate in this regard. And so for those who perhaps, yes.
Can I come in and finish it?
Yes.
Put the nail on the coffin for you. Mr. Aura, whoever you are, whether you have symptoms or no symptoms, you broke the law. You drove from Nairobi in Dandora. Is it Dandora? Yes. You drove from Nairobi. You broke the law. Whether you have it or not, undergo all the process. And I agree with Mr. Amoth, Dr. Amoth. Go through the process. They can't release you now because they have one test. There must be final test, isn't it, Miriam?
Yes.
You broke the law. You were a criminal. Then you are crying from. You are a criminal. Criminal. You broke the law. Why did you drive the car out of Nairobi? Then you see his brother is also opening his mouth. That, oh, my brother was this. Your brother broke the law. Tukwambiane kwa ukweli. You have broken the law. The government says don't leave Nairobi. And you have left Nairobi. You have gone now to spread whatever enzymes you have there. What were on the barabara? People who saw you, the passengers you carried. Do you know how many you carried? How did he drive there alone? Did he drive alone or with a dog? Or he drove with monkeys and the dogs? What did he drive with? He broke the law. What kills we Africans is we don't accept we have broken the law. Yes. Miriam, every time, if I break the law, I will just quickly be sentenced to first class. Requisha. This, done this, you did this. Marizana. But the people here, this man has broken the law. He has put his brother on. And also, there is one thing that I blame our journalists, especially those journalists who become so cheap. They are paid 1,000, 2,000 shillings to interview such people. Why should I bring such a story? You have also broken a law. You are propagating. That's why in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe being bad as people call it, you never stop reggae. As people call it, Zimbabwe reggae says 20 good years, 20. If you're a journalist and I report something fishy, miaka hii 20 kwa jail. So you serve 14, then get out. So some of these journalists who run and they get money from their masters to run to interview cases. Oh, I have a story in Kakamega.
But also,
Gary,
I think it's important because maybe there are other people who are feeling the same way. I'm being put under forced quarantine and I don't have any. So perhaps I think it's important even to create awareness, because then now the Ministry of Health was able to respond appropriately. So also I think that sometimes it's just good to yes.
Miriam,
yes. Because now from that, the Ministry of Health has been able to explain that, you know what, yes, you could be you don't have the headache, you could be you don't have the sore throat, but you have it. And so it is important we keep you here and, you know, so that you're not a threat to the loved ones if we release you here. So I think it's important, and it helped the Ministry of Health to come out and give that clarification so that Kenyans don't worry about the people who are being held in quarantine or people who are, and they're wondering why are people being there and yet they are okay, and they're not okay. They have the illness. So please understand, as much as they might not be having these symptoms, if they've tested positive for COVID-19, then they cannot be released until the test comes out otherwise. So just be patient. Your loved ones will come home, and yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
As we live in this country, how did you end there? If you say you are in the quarantine, how did you end there? You must have ended there. Maybe the search team found out you were close to
contact
person who did not tell. So you don't blame the government. It is not the government that brought you to the quarantine. The person like the governor, the deputy governor of Lamu.
Yes. Of Kilifi.
Is it Lamu or Kilifi?
Yes.
Might have tested negative.
But he took so many people
the perception is he went around violating the law. He should have quarantined himself. Kwanza aingie kwa quarantine. Apone ndiye aanze kutembea na zipu yake open. No problem. Yes. Tuambie wa Kenya ukweli. How did you end up in that quarantine? There must be a system. Mr. Omof did not call you to come. Kagwe did not call you to come. Uhuru Kenyatta did not call you to come. Uhuru Kenyatta put guidelines. You have become a victim. The only thing you could have the people in quarantine should be asking is for us journalists to ask the government to plead for on their behalf that please the kabiru in the quarantine is too high. That the government may be keeping some money.
Yes.
If they have money. Like what President Uhuru Kenyatta has said, he's going to look at the China crisis because it looks the government policy is very clear. You went there on your own, you must find your way out. But now, Your Excellency, these guys have stayed overpaid in hotels. If you have gone with $5,000, 1 month, $5,000 is finished. Those are cases, this to mitigate for them that when they pay for them, then when they come here, some of them have got big houses We ask them to repay this money slowly. And they go to the police station and do a bond that I will be paying back this money. But remove them from those bad conditions where the Chinese are giving them second-hand food or not allowing them to eat.
Yeah.
So that is what the people in Wuhan and Guangzhou and other provinces should be asking the businessmen. Some of them are businessmen who have paid their goods. Go back to those Chinese to cancel the goods. Don't bring them. Give me my money. If I paid you $100,000, I don't want your goods. Go to the Chinese. I want to teach these people activism. Africans who are in China now invade the shops and the workshops.
You can't. You can't invade.
No, where you paid. There are people, businessmen.
You can't access these areas. They're restricted. They can't move.
Okay, tell us where their agents are in Africa. We go for them. If you have, I'm telling you what Ugandans are doing.
I think this might require some diplomacy because when you're in a foreign country, you're powerless.
It does require diplomacy.
Yes, and
you know what Ugandans are doing? Mm-hmm. Ugandans who import goods from China, they have their relatives who were caught there. Mm-hmm. So what the Ugandans have done in Kampala, they have gone to the local Chinese who is linked to that company to pay. And then from this money, you send to your brother to get a plane. They are still, when the plane comes, you pay the government will air transport you to Kampala. There is no need of bringing their goods back because there is no need of goods. There is no good relationship. If I paid my money, $200,000,
yes, and
you are an agent in Kampala, you have put you in an apartment, we are doing business. You know, Africans went on being partner, business partner. You find some of them with Chinese. Oh, these are my partners from China. Have you seen now? That is the way things should be done. But let's plead with the president, please, help these people.
He addressed that matter in the morning, so I'm hoping that the government will take some action. Yes. And
thank you very much, Miriam.
They'll work on it. So something very interesting here on top of that of that headline there, which on Standard, which more men are calling a COVID-19 helpline. That is what I see here.
I knew you were wanted to say that. More men are calling
COVID-19 helpline. Yes, and three quarters of the callers are men, most of them from Rift Valley and Western provinces. That is according to the Standard newspaper and the statistics from the COVID-19.
Why are they calling? Maybe because the women are beating them up.
No, it's the COVID helpline to report the symptoms and the cases. It has nothing to do with violence or anything like that. It's just
in a very serious way. Are they reporting to have disease?
Yes, the symptoms. Yes, they're looking for help. Yes.
They have more symptoms.
Mm-hmm. And most
maybe
of them,
they are not used. They are not used to the weather.
People are worried, I think so. I think it's encouraging.
They're not used to the weather because when people heard that Nairobi was going to be sealed down, you have heard of Easter when you see chicken, mattresses, all of them heading that region. It could be when people heard that Nairobi was going to be locked down, people headed there, and there are very many of them that side. Could it be the reason why symptoms are many? That's one. Are they symptoms or they are calling because there is pressure from the houses?
It's not pressures from the houses. They have nothing to do with the relationship, anything here. It's just that men are not known to be quick to seek for help. So I think this is very encouraging because you'll find that when a man has a flu, a few of them will even go and get a flu medication. They'll just deal with it. They'll be fine. So they're not always quick to to seek for help. So I think this is very encouraging that we see a lot of men calling and try to get the help of the information they need. So I think that should it's good. And also now women also, and I think anybody, not just men or women, if you feel that you're having these symptoms or you feel something is not right or you're experiencing something that you've not experienced before, just go. You'd rather go to the hospital and then the doctor tells you you're okay, instead of sitting and maybe you're sitting on something that may be a problem, especially in this age of the COVID-19. So I think this is very encouraging that now we see men jamming the pandemic hotline with calls. That's good. I think that's good. We encourage more of that, not just the men, but everybody. All right.
NASCOP was chosen because it already had an existing rate called rate dubbed Ulizu NASCOP that handled queries counseling among the other services for the HIV. With this, the officers of NASCOP already had experience in handling. Some of the cases we handle are very complex. They need someone with medical background to determine whether they meet the case of definition, while some of the healthcare workers who need help in manning the clients that they have, said Dr. Nazarias Momine, a team leader at the call center. Now, daily costs, interactive. I am looking for the reason, the main reason. Is it the disease? They call symptoms have them, or they are calling because more men are infected, or men seem to have more symptoms than the women.
Well, statistics have shown that more men have the virus compared to women, so maybe that's why more and more, because they're susceptible because it's a huge number of men who drink a lot, perhaps that have damaged their lungs, or maybe who smoke a lot. That also already they're predisposed. So maybe that's why they're worried. I don't know. That could be one of the reasons as to why, because that is what science and statistics have shown us. But they're not saying.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We have seen the Star newspaper. It has 7 Kenyans join the race. That's very good and encouraging. If they can also come up with something that like their British counterparts came up with, we shall say hallelujah. And we encourage them to do so. That's the hope. So anybody writing on the Standard saying there is no hope, there is hope. Unless you have blind eyes, you don't see them. But the hope is there. We should not close eyes and condemn the government all the time. The government cannot help you more than yourself. Wash your hands, keep a distance, stay away from chaos, stay away, stay home. You don't blame Uhuru Kenyatta will not be there when your child, how do you call your child to come out of the quarantine? It is you, the parent, who should be arrested also. Because these students are coming home because their parents are saying, hey, Brian, jump the floor, jump the roof, jump the wall, come to me. Let's stop this behavior. This thing is real. Let's get their viewers. Thank you very much, Miriam. The people, that driver who's shouting from the quarantine from Homa Bay, you broke the law. You drove all the way from Nairobi when you are not supposed to drive out of Nairobi. Now you are shouting for help. Who should help you? Help yourself by serving the sentence until the government clears you.
He's actually being helped there. He's being treated. Isn't that helping?
You are being treated.
So relax and get better. Yes.
Relax and drink and eat and pay. And you can even sell that car. Yeah, because you broke the law. I have no. I don't entertain criminals. All Miriam, right. Thank you very much. Let's open up the second phase of our show. And viewers, wherever you are in Kenya, thank you very much for your watching and your comments. First of all, there are many comments, Miriam, on your site. You can read them from the headquarters.
Yes,
Thank
and
you.
I can see Daniel Mpare. Daniel saying, I love his recommendation. You can't play diplomacy with Chinese. And you're saying African leaders needs to wake up. And Chizoba Oraiche says, good morning, big brother. And saying also hello to me there. Thank you so much, Uchena. You're saying there is no COVID-19 in Africa. Vaccine is evil. Don't take it. Okay, Elvis, and also Young, you're saying you're watching us from Cyprus. How are you? And I hope that you're safe wherever you are there, Elvis. Thank you so much for watching us this morning. And
From Cyprus?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Haruna Saleh says, please greet my mentor, PLO Lumumba. Mm-hmm. Yes, we shall pass the greetings, Haruna Saleh. And then we have who else? There is an interesting point somewhere. Viewers, the president made 10 good points. And those points touch from curfew up to the exams. Read them at length and then come out. Less than that if you break the law. Look at your Kenyan Constitution, Article 132, 4D. If you go on jumping the wall too many times, the president could be forced to ask Parliament to declare a state of emergency. So once they declare a state of emergency, Wakina Kuria, Moses Kuria, and what? All of this, who are going around, they will not talk. So the president is being humane, Benjamin. It's giving you time to refrain yourself. Because a state of emergency, once declared, the GSU would be on the road. You can't negotiate with Jeshi. There is a Jeshi in Tanzania which said, Fanya fujo, uone, FFU. Hey, it is very tough. It's like it bites like a bee. They come to beat you. Within 1 second, the eyes are all swollen. So please don't take us that way. There is some freedom. There is something. Keep the curfew. Don't drink in the estates. You people on social media, educate people not to drink. Buy your drink. You drink in the house. Teach the children mathematics, English, which they did not have. I'm glad so many parents are doing so. For us, some of you who learn international relations, politics, we are also giving lessons on Punchline Africa television from Monday. We shall be giving 1 hour lessons in particular topics. If you have a topic that you want me to talk about on this television, send your topic. I will come and teach you so that you don't miss your exams when you return to your school. Thank you very much, Miriam. Over to you. Introduce the topic now.
All right. Thank you so much. So for the students out there, I hope that you can take up Doctor on that challenge and give him a topic there.
Not a challenge.
Yes.
I'm going to give them free education.
Yes.
I'm going to give them free lessons.
Take him up for that offer.
Yes,
take him up for that offer.
If you want about Karl Marx,
yes,
Adam Smith, Socrates, the Prince, ask about the theories. If you ask about international relations, how systems work, talk to us. Send your topic. If you have an essay which you are not doing because of COVID-19 in Kenya, and your exam is your last semester, send them free to me. I will do and I will teach you. I will pick a pen and you write the notes. Then you fill in and write your essay. I don't want to write your essay for you. You write to take my words. Don't keep off. This television is for helping people. Mm-hmm. We are not here to be like the main media that is not teaching people good manners. This television teaches people good manners. Wewe mtu ya, that man in Homa Bay, wewe driver, hiyo dasturi mbaya, wachana hiyo video unafanya kwa watu. Wewe ndio ulikosea serikali. You drove a car from Nairobi in Dandora up to Homa Bay. You broke the law. Wachana na huyo mambo yako hili unaniambia unalialia. Lia sasa. You get treated, in fact, relax there, then you will come back later. Thank you very much, viewers. Miriam, up to you in the studio, miles away from me.
All right, so we turn on to my opinion, and our topic right now is there is a difference between roadmap, timetable, timeline, and a deadline that is in regards to the COVID-19. And this is after we just needed to understand that this headline by the Standard newspaper this morning on broken promises, and they're saying 40 days after the country recorded the first case of the coronavirus, Kenyans want tangible solutions to win this war, which I think the government so far has offered. And time running out, they say, number one, coronavirus requires a clear roadmap to contain a daily ledger of infections and deaths, not enough. Number two, procure kits for mass testing to estimate the scale of the pandemic and the appropriate responses. I think the government has done that. Number three, medical workers are the country's biggest asset. They must be protected and rewarded appropriately, and the government has done that. I think they've been the salaries there, they've been given something extra. And also, I think the other day, the Minister of Health, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe, I think opened an isolation ward for the medical staff who perhaps have contracted this illness there at the Kenyatta National Hospital. I think that was done. And also, where is the money and other resources mobilized from Kenyans and donors to fight the pandemic? We've seen that put into use. And also, public goodwill is priceless. I'm just reading before you get into our topic so that we are able to get the basis. Yes.
Yes, I get you on that one. Let me ask, who is not asking for the money? Is it the newspaper? The newspaper asking for where is the money? Does the newspaper editor want the money? Or the money is budgeted for and there are checks and the balances that the committee that is handling the COVID fund has its own terms of reference. This type of behavior of Donald Korir and Ahmed Nasir, who are used to smell money, creating confusion on Twitter and social media, must be condemned by Kenyans. These guys, some of them, nobody has asked where they got the money. But the more they go on talking about money, people will ask, where do they get the money? Like Ahmed Nasir, Grandi Mura, his door, one door in his house in Karen costs 5 million. Why can't he sell one door and donate to the COVID fund?
Doctor, I think that because when you read things like this, and yesterday, remember the topic we had, despondency and the state of despondency. Yes. I think when you read things like this, and Kenyans who perhaps don't have the information might be confused on when you read such. So now then, what I would like for us to do this morning is just look at, forget what these people are saying, just look at what is it that the government has done so far, and then we look at in relation to the roadmap. Maybe we could start from there, and yes, so that we are able to really. We're able to give the information to the people as we should.
Yes, before we go that way, we must understand what is the roadmap, what is the timetable, what is the timeline, what is the deadline. I think you are able in the studio where you are to read them very well. What is a roadmap? The government, are people complaining because there is no strategy? Are people complaining because there is no timetable? Are people complaining because there is no timeline or time frame? Or are people complaining because there is no deadline? Because you cannot have a deadline, you don't know where the COVID-19 will end. We don't know. We haven't even found the vaccine. Yes. So you can't put a deadline on Minister Kagwe to tell you by June we shall be finished. Everybody will come back to kiss each other or hug each other. In fact, this thing of social distancing might be a permanent feature forever. Because people got a shock to be told that you are in your house, but you cannot greet your housemate. You have to tell him, hello, how are you? So it is something that has destroyed the society. the social being of the human being. Yes. So Miriam, perhaps tell our viewers what this means. Then you can lead us through the main subject.
All right. So even as the questions that are being raised there by the newspaper, we'll try our best to address some of those in relation to what the government so far has done responding to such questions. So they're wondering about the roadmap that the government has put in place, and perhaps we'll start by understanding what is a roadmap, and this is a plan or a strategy intended to achieve a particular goal. So in the first time this case, we recorded the first case was confirmed in this country. The government swiftly went into action and put in place, the President Uhuru Kenyatta put in place a team that will be able to lead this country. Even before Dr. Coronavirus really came to Kenya late in February, the government already constituted a team that will handle this matter. When we used to say, it's only a matter of time, it's not if, it is when. And when this happened, the government already had a strategy in place and on how, in case this thing comes to Kenya, and how they're going to deal with it. So they already had a particular goal, and that was to make sure that we minimize the spread of this disease as much as possible. That was the first thing, and the government really had in mind. So the government of Kenya first roadmap plan was to ensure that the virus does not spread, number one, and this has been made possible by the swift measures put in place that has gone a long way in helping achieve this goal. So one of the things that the government has done, the roadmap in terms of lessening the spread of this disease, we saw bars being closed, doctor, immediately, nightclubs being closed immediately. You remember that was initial when we recorded our first case here in Kenya, and so some of the measures, of course, later that followed included the curfew, travel restriction in and out of the 4 counties that have been greatly affected, including Nairobi, and later on we saw wearing a mask in public became mandatory, and also a directive compelling public service providers to have sanitizers or water and soap for hand washing for their customers. So these are just some of the things, initial things that the government put in place as a roadmap towards making sure that we don't have as much spread in this country as possible, even as they work towards defeating the COVID-19 in this country. And also the government has been constantly monitoring and shown a readiness to adjust and reintroduce new measures wherever deemed necessary. We've seen every day in these daily updates some things that the government is doing every day in terms of meeting some of these challenges and these emerging issues that come with COVID-19. So the government has shown its readiness to adjust and reintroduce new measures, and then clear and timely communication and transparency with its citizens is essential. And we've seen in this respect, the government has been consistent in this regard with its daily briefings to the Minister of Health, coming out, giving us the numbers, coming out, telling us what is happening. That is very important, and that has been part of the roadmap, yes, and also actions taken by the Kenyan government is based on science. You remember when they came out and they gave us the modeling, right? So they used all the available avenues possible, and also public health has been the center of this while balancing social and economic remedies. We've seen our social lives, we have to adjust, our economic lives, we have to adjust now, and this has been the roadmap that the government has put in place in able to make sure first we don't have the spread of this virus is curbed, and once that is curbed, the people who are in isolation or who have been have tested positive for the coronavirus, our medical staff are doing all it can to ensure we save as many lives as possible. And we have the government has done that very well. Yes.
Thank you very much, Miriam. On government roadmap, that is the visualized roadmap what the government wanted to do. Thank you very much for highlighting those. Let's now look at the government timetable in response to COVID-19. One, COVID-19 has presented the government with challenges that governments around the world are dealing with. And like the Kenya government has not been spared their challenges. First of all, you had to adjust the entire community of yours. The citizens were readjusted. You were told that don't go to a restaurant. You are told that don't smoke, don't shake hands, don't go and wash water. We have to look for water. With this in mind, it has become impossible to place a timeline on how to bring the virus to an end. You can't place a timeline. This is a continuous exercise. And I don't think people will place a timeline on washing hands. We are going to wash hands. Now we know if we go through this coronavirus, We know that once you eat food, nyama choma on Thika Road, in Zagrit, in all the hood, wash your hands before you come. Some people were not washing hands. So we can't put a timeline on washing hands. Miriam, another one is while time is of the essence, a timeline is impossible, as it is difficult to schedule a certain and a particular end. Another point, the Ministry of Health came out and gave modeling predictions, which is very correct, which goes with the roadmap. It says maybe by May, by the end of April, we shall have this. But if this modeling samples, if you have done what we call opinion modeling, sampling, if they fall below what you expected, you say hallelujah. Thank you very much. If we have not got 10,000 infected people by end of April,
yes,
then it means the modeling sample is working.
It did work, and I think it scared Kenyans into observing the measures. You remember when they said if it
observe the measures,
yes,
and let it work. Give Mr. Kagwe kudos because the modeling sample seemed to have worked.
Yes.
Those who want to invent miracles, you don't have a telephone call to Angel Gabriel. Call him and say which one is the best model. But so far, the Kenyan model has worked. As they keep the economy, they keep the life going on, they keep other activities. They close the schools. They have a timetable that sometime the exams, the president this morning told you, the exams will be done.
Yes.
So the last bit of it before you come in with the time, putting the timeline and timetable, sorry. This was the timetable. So the government of Kenya, however, responded to COVID-19 in a timely way and with the seriousness and attention it requires, and has since been consistent. Mutahi Kagwe has told you it is Easter, hakuna kwenda nje kukula mbuzi, kulia ndani kwa nyumba, wash your hands, don't break the curfew. Those are timetable laid down. Over to you, Miriam, for timeline.
Oh yes, and I think that is very important, because there are people who have been asking for that timetable. You cannot schedule when a disease will end, especially like this one, the COVID-19. So please understand, it's impossible to put a timetable on how you think this will end. So let's look at the timeline, and this is a graphical representation of a period of time on which important events are marked. So a period of things and how things have been moving in this country, and since this COVID-19 arrived in Kenya, how has the government been responding to the COVID-19? So considering the events surrounding the COVID-19 in the country, the government came up with a raft of measures in its response to the COVID-19, and in early March, even before the arrival of the COVID-19 in Kenya, more than 100 hospital beds are already set up in preparation for the possible coronavirus cases. And of course, the Ministry of Health trained over 1,100 health workers whom were deployed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at that time. Remember when people were being forced into quarantine when they arrived in the country, and also in other areas across the country. And on the 22nd of March last month, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Mutahi Kagwe, launched the Kenyatta National Hospital Diagnostic and Reporting Center, which incorporates a medical teleconferencing facility and artificial intelligence radiology center. And now the CT scanner equipment is able to detect COVID-19. For those who are wondering what the government has been doing and why it's taking, I mean, these are things that we have seen happen. And it is active, thus ensuring isolation of patients in good time, and takes less center offers doctors from all the teleconferencing services at the center offers doctors from all over the world an opportunity to interact with their peers locally, to share best practices in various issues and also internationally. And also just recently, Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital in Eldoret and the Kenyatta National Hospital have now been equipped to test for the COVID-19. So I think that is very interesting, important, because initially the tests are being taken to Cambridge, but now we see Kenyatta National Hospital has been equipped to do the same, and also Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital there in Eldoret. And also in line with the timeline and how the government has been responding to the COVID-19, the CS Ministry of Health, Mr. Mutahi Kagwe, of course, on the 14th, April 14th, he said that the government will roll out a mass testing exercise for the coronavirus disease, beginning with quarantine and high-density areas. The first phase of the mass testing will see approximately 12,000 testing kits deployed to targeted areas in the next few days, and 1,000 testing kits to the Kenya Ports Authority, where a few cases have been reported in Mombasa, based on the risk of transmission identified by monitoring teams, including Mandera and Siaya counties, which have also recorded some cases. And on April of the 19th, this month, the government announced that it will activate community policing to enhance community participation in the fight against the coronavirus. And during, of course, the media update on the coronavirus, I think a day ago, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, said the community policing will use a Nyumba Kumi initiative, community health workers, public health officers, multi-agency teams at roadblocks, besides utilizing technology and tracking and surveillance of post-curfew congregations. So these are just some of the things that the government has been doing and has done and is continuing to do, Doctor, after, in dealing with the COVID-19. So that is the timeline, that is the graph, that is the, the how things have been working and how government has been responding. And this is just a few of what the government has been doing. There's a lot that has happened there, that has been announced. We've seen so much happening in terms of all ministries and departments will facilitate the payment for at least the 13 billion of the verified pending bills in 3 weeks. This was initially after the meeting with the institutions, the financial institutions in the country. We saw President Uhuru Kenyatta and his team started working on strategies and roadmap, and how they will cushion Kenya. So the earliest, and now we see these things are coming into fruition. So a lot has been happening. And so for those who don't know, and for a headline like this that is wondering why you are running out of time to where? I mean, you cannot place an expiry date or an end time into something like this. So the government is just trying to do its best. And these are just some of the things that the government has been doing in ensuring Kenyans are cushioned. And also we know and we are aware. And now I think working with the Nyumba Kumi initiative and the community health workers, Doctor, will go a long way in creating awareness. And this perhaps, will help in sensitizing the public.
Thank you very much. That is now the last word that I want to come to is a deadline, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Or you have done it?
No, I did the timeline.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Highlighting.
We placed on the deadline. Just like timelines, timetables, it is impossible. It is not possible to give a deadline on when COVID-19 should be done and dusted. Perhaps projections. You can only, the newspaper here is asking too much, Miriam. You can only do projection. You can't say we shall end or it has to end. Therefore, government has to tell us when it is ending. You see? So everyone is looking forward to this, all to win, to finish. This all will be over when this will be over and the things turn to normal. And we shall get there. But until we do, hand washing, social distancing, sanitizing must be our norms. The government of Kenya has been working hard in ensuring that Kenyans can see the end of the COVID sooner than later. It has therefore deployed this approach, gathering data and developing robust system of reporting cases, created a framework for contract tracing and warning, and expanded testing capacity. The capacity and the resilience of healthcare systems has been increased. The availability of medical and personal protective equipment has been increased, and it is going to increase. Efforts to prevent the spread of the virus has been sustained. with awareness campaigns to encourage the population to keep up the strong hygiene practices and the social distancing. Measures have been continuously monitored and a certain readiness developed. Viewers, anybody thinking that this disease has a timetable when it should end or a deadline when it is end, Miriam, let's be honest, as Kenyans, as Africans, and the world over, we only need to pray for hope that this will come, the solutions will come. But another interesting thing that has just erupted, hackers from United States and Russia joined the hands and started hacking George Soros. And you know why I'm smiling. You asked me why I'm smiling. I woke up in the morning and I found my box is full. I don't know whether these hackers know where I am or whatever. They filled me with so many material. Have you heard what is going on? The hackers from Russia and America itself have hacked the accounts of Mr. Bill Gates, their Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts from about 4 years ago. And they are releasing things painfully, things that you wrote on the tweet with George Soros, with President Xi Jinping, with the World Health Organization. I told you that this man has a problem. These things now have been brought by hackers called Anonymous. I woke up and found things heaped on I will share some with you. You won't believe it. You won't believe it. Kumbe, that's why I was right to tell you that Mr. Tedros, I have now known how to mention his name, Tedros must leave. I was right. God bless me. God bless Africa. God bless Miriam. Back to the studio. Therefore, there must be a difference between roadmap, timetable, timeline, and deadline. Newspaper that writes without going deeper to find where the government, they mix all of them, thinking that the government should give them a deadline. That newspaper editor should have been fired. Back to you to pull it down as usual. Today the temperature has not risen. I've been a very good boy. Thank you very much. Summarize it for our readers.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. And I think in such a situation, we find people asking too many questions because of the uncertainty that comes with such a very unique situation that the COVID-19 has presented to the world, and not just here in Kenya. And so, yes, as you said there, Doctor, very rightly so, just as a timeline, just as a timetable, you cannot put a deadline on COVID-19. It will... what we need to do is just stay in the house. If you don't have to go outside, please. And if you find your way outside, make sure that you're protected with a mask. You protect yourself and you protect the other person. We cannot, emphasize this enough. I've seen even up to today, some Kenyans are walking without a mask. Some Kenyans are walking very careless. You wonder, why then did you buy that mask if you can't wear it properly? And it's very unfortunate because they don't understand the gravity of the matter there.
Yeah. My mask is here. Thank you. As you explained, it is here. Thank you very much for reminding us. I keep it here.
You're matching your turtleneck. You're matching your turtleneck. Your mask is matching your turtleneck. Yeah.
Oh. You had commented on this.
This is not the time. All right.
There you are. That's my mask. When I go out and I want to walk out to do a walk exercise at 6 o'clock in the morning, I am walking down on my road past up there, then come back to do this. You must do exercise. Wap, 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 wap. Because we are eating. And my fruits have not arrived again from Uganda today. Tomorrow I will have them live. I just want to wish Miriam a good day, and we meet again at 8 o'clock.
All right, but you can. I still have a few minutes. I would like to go through some news making headlines across Africa, if you would allow. We still have about 15 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, but then they will not be prolonged because I need to go out.
I can say my bias. We can say our bias. Yes.
No, I need to analyze. I will be here. Let me listen to the news.
All right. Even as Doctor wears there a mask that matches his turtleneck. We go to Uganda. Authorities in Uganda are set to press charges against half a dozen Chinese nationals who escaped from institutional quarantine about a month ago. In all, there are 6 Chinese and 2 Ugandan conspirators expected to be arraigned before the Nakawa Magistrates Court. According to reports, 6 had escaped quarantine before 2 of them tested positive for the virus after they were arrested. The case was temporarily put on hold as they entered government treatment for the virus. And we go to South Africa, and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced an economic relief package worth $26 billion intended to protect companies and 3 million workers during the coronavirus pandemic. In a televised address, he said the assistance amounted to 10% of South Africa's entire GDP. Funds would provisionally be diverted from the national budget, but discussions were also underway with the World Bank and the International Monetary Funds there. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the country is due to begin easing strict lockdown measures on Wednesday. The capital, Kinshasa, which has nearly all the country's recorded cases of the coronavirus, the authorities say the only residents in the upmarket riverside suburb of Gombe will be allowed to leave their homes. What? All right, so banks, food shops, and some businesses are due to reopen, but people in the crowded poor suburbs will remain restricted. Police checkpoints have been placed at road junctions leading into Gombe, and only essential workers will be allowed to leave or enter the enclave, the one I was talking about yesterday. So that is where the important people live. So the rest of you can just be over there. It's very interesting. And in Cameroon has admitted that soldiers acting alongside a militia shot dead 13 civilians, including 10 children, in the restive northwest of the country. Officials had initially denied the army was involved in the killings in Tumbo in February. In a statement, Cameroon's president said 3 soldiers, along with members of the vigilante group, had stormed Ambazonia rebel base, suggesting the deaths were accidentally caused by the soldiers who tried to cover up. Cameroon's government has been fighting Ambazonians in the region for 3 years now. And of course, the attack, the UN say 23 people died. Remember when the children and women were killed in Cameroon there? So apparently now they have ascertained that soldiers actually did that. And we go to Lesotho, where political players in Lesotho have pledged a dignified and secure exit deal for Prime Minister Thomas Tambane, who is under pressure to step down. The octogenarian leader faces mounting calls to leave office from rivals within his ruling party and opposition groups over suspicions he had a hand in the murder of his estranged wife in 2017. And we go to Burkina Faso, where the country's security forces reportedly killed 31 unarmed men in the country's north earlier in this month, according to a report on Monday by Human Rights Watch. The killings occurred on April 9th, hours after men were detained during a government counter-terrorism operation in the town of Djibo in the Sahel region, the report said. And we go to South Korea. News further failed, and South Korea reported fewer than 15 new cases of the novel coronavirus for the fourth day in a row on Wednesday, but health authorities still remain wary of an increase in new infections amid the East social distancing campaign. And then we go to the UK, where Health Secretary Matt Hancock has said the government is throwing everything at developing a coronavirus vaccine. He said the human trial for a vaccine developed by the University of Oxford will begin trials on Thursday. Mr. Hancock said in a briefing that the best way to defeat the coronavirus was through a vaccine, adding that the process was trial and error, but the UK was at the front of the global effort and had invested more money than any other country. And we go to the U.S., where Donald Trump has announced a 60-day ban on immigrants seeking to live and work in America permanently, and said he could extend it depending on the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic. The U.S. president framed the executive order, which he expects to sign on Wednesday, as an effort to protect American workers from foreign competitors. And then we go to China, where now China is giving away billions of yuan in shopping vouchers and offering other financial sweeteners to coerce shell-shocked consumers to start spending again. Although the country's shopping malls and restaurants have largely reopened, their former customers are proving reluctant to return, as they worry about both of their physical and economic health against a backdrop of rising unemployment. So that is just the news from Africa and indeed across the globe, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Miriam.
Yes.
And before you leave,
yes,
one cardinal thing we had forgotten.
Yes.
Kenya, the tally stands at 296, 14 dead, 74 recovered. South Sudan, 4, no recovery, no death. Uganda, 61, recovered, 38, no death. Tanzania, 254, dead 10, recovered 11. South Africa is number 2 to Egypt with 3,465, 58 people dead, recovered 1,055. Egypt, 3,490, 264 people dead, 870 recovered. Rwanda, I am looking for East African states or IGAD states. Burundi, 4 people have recovered, 5 more cases, 1 dead. Sudan, 140, dead 13, 8 recovered. And then Somalia, 164, then 7 dead, recovered 3. Cameroon, 1,163, 43 dead, recovered 329. Then we have Ghana, 1,042 people infected, 9 dead, recovered 99. Nigeria, 782, 25 dead, recovered 197. Democratic Republic of Congo, 25, recovered 35, 25 dead, 350 infected. Rwanda, figures gone up to 150, recovered 84, dead 0. Then we have Ethiopia. We are reading the neighboring states because of time. 114 cases and recovered 16, dead 3. Djibouti, 945 infected, dead 2, recovered 112. And then we have Libya, 59, dead 1, recovered 15. Miriam, Eritrea, 39, recovered 6, 0 dead. My in-laws in Angola, 24, dead 2, recovered 6. Miriam, you can read the total number of cases in Africa and we close.
And the total number of confirmed cases in Africa, as per about an hour ago, was stood at 24,170, and the death toll so far in Africa is at 1,171. Recoveries is 6,258, and the infected countries is 52. Corona-free countries is Comoros and Lesotho, and the global statistics as they stand, total confirmed cases till now is 2,560,063. Confirmed cases today only is 4,303. The death toll is at 177,708, representing 6.94% of the number of total confirmed cases worldwide. And of course, the new death tolls today stands at 249. Critical cases 57,297. That is about 3% of the total number of confirmed cases, and recoveries there. The people who have been discharged is at 696,175, representing 27.19%. And the countries that have still been affected so far worldwide stands at 212.
Thank you very much from me, the Political Command Center of Punchline Africa Television, together with Punchline Africa, which is playing music. I want to ask all the soldiers in Mogadishu, in Kismayo, enjoy that music. Just go on our digital platform and ask for Radio Punchline Africa. You press the button, you will listen to music 24 hours, 7 days a week. 52 weeks in a year, 365 days. Rumba music from Congo, from Cameroon, from Nigeria, from Uganda, from Kenya, Tanzania. Oliver Mutukuzi from South Africa. Makeba, all of this, all those songs are there on that Radio Punchline Africa. Enjoy the music while we take a break and come back at 8 p.m. with diplomatic leaks. My producer will tell me, I will tell the producer, and she tells me, Miriam, what do we tackle this time? Yesterday we tackled the counties. How are the counties in Kenya prepared for COVID-19? We found out Mombasa, Makueni, Machakos, Embu, Kakamega are most of the countries, and the West Pokot. We found out those are counties whose governors have done something extraordinary.
Yes.
In preparation and in waiting for this monster, invisible monster, an invisible monster. We don't know when it will go. The deadline is not known. That's the suffering we are taking today. It is exactly 1 o'clock East African Standard Time. And there comes Mr. Kasumba from Uganda, who was detained yesterday by the police as he got out of the studio on Monday, was arrested. He just came out last night from Uganda NBS television station. Welcome back, and then we cross over to your usual activities. See you at 8 p.m. East African Standard Time. Miriam, see you. Aso.
must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.